Breaking into corporate event photography can be really, really difficult. But once you're in, you have the potential to get really great jobs. Jobs that will actually pay you what you're worth. This is Nicole Glass, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about corporate event photography and how to get your foot in the door. To be honest, corporate event photography is the type of photography that I'm hired for most often. It is the one that is the least exciting to me, but it is the one that pays the majority of the bills. I don't really share a lot of photos from corporate event photography gigs on my social media channels because these are the types of photos that would probably bore most people. Corporate event photography often involves taking pictures of speeches, networking events where people stand around and talk to other important people, and the occasional panel discussion or two. I am often hired for events where I truly wonder, why on earth do they need a photographer in the first place? I mean, I'm not complaining, I'll gladly take the work. But seriously, being paid a pretty high hourly rate to take photos of people standing around with wine glasses that are just chatting to each other? I'm not even sure what companies need these types of photos for. The most boring types of events to photograph are the ones where there's like a dinner or a networking reception where people are being served food and they're literally just standing around stuffing their faces, and you're like, what on earth am I going to do with these photos of these people eating? Because taking photos of people eating is not very attractive. Anyways, moving on. Most of the events I shoot are government-funded events, and let me tell you, these types of organizations have a very large budget for photography or no budget at all. When you're being hired by a successful company instead of an individual, cost doesn't matter so much for them. A corporate company or a government institution will usually pay you what you ask for, and the good thing is that once they find a photographer that they like, they'll usually stick with that photographer, as long as you produce good work and meet their needs. They're usually not scouring the internet or searching the marketplace for a better photographer, someone who is a little bit cheaper and maybe slightly better than you, because honestly, they don't have time for that, and if they know someone that they like already, they're just gonna call that person up. So I have about 10 different companies that continue to hire me for their events, and honestly, most of these companies found me through word of mouth, and once they found me, they've kind of stuck with me and they keep calling me up every time they have an event coming around. So there's a few different ways that I got discovered by these companies. One is from other photographers. There are two photographers in particular who have connected me to corporate companies. One is a photographer who was really well known and actually really talented in the area that I live in, and he actually moved away and he referred me to his clients. And the other one is a photographer who still lives here and he shoots a lot of events here, but every time that he can't shoot an event or he's already booked for something, he'll recommend me. So I'll get a couple of his clients that way. And I'll return the favor whenever I have a situation like that as well. Another way I've gotten clients is by attending events, just, as an attendee, bringing my camera, taking some photos at the events, posting and sharing them, and when the organizers saw those photos, they actually hired me for future events. Also, occasionally somebody will approach me at an event that I'm already hired to shoot, and they will ask me if I'm free to photograph one of their events in the future. So sometimes just by being seen, people will actually reach out to you and hire you for their event because they haven't found a photographer yet. And the biggest way that I've gotten hired for corporate event photography is simply through word of mouth. So for those of you who don't know, I speak fluent German, and I've kind of gotten a reputation in my city as the German-speaking photographer. So right now, a lot of the companies that hire me are actually German or German-American companies in the area who have asked other German or German-American companies if they know of a photographer that they recommend. And since I speak German, it's often very easy for them to hire me because I can speak and communicate to both the organizers and the attendees in German, which makes a lot of their lives a lot easier. The whole network of German-American companies, they all communicate with each other, and then they all recommend me. And so I've kind of become the German-American photographer in my city. It's kind of like my own niche that I accidentally fell into. I know a lot of different photographers could do well taking photos of an event. It's really not that hard, regardless of nationality or whatever language they speak, but I guess it just makes people feel comfortable that I can also talk to them in German. So what can you expect to be paid as a corporate event photographer? Well, the answer to that is not a simple one. It depends entirely on where you live and how experienced you are. In Washington, D.C., for example, where prices are 4% above the national average in the United States, corporate event photography costs about $400 for 2 hours of coverage on average. For 1 hour, the average price is around $260. And from what I've seen, and based on what I charge, I would say that this is pretty average, and this estimate is pretty correct for this area. But again, these prices are for a major metropolitan area, the capital city of the United States, and I can guarantee you it's a lot less if you live in like a small town in Nebraska or a different country where the GDP is totally different. So what should you charge as an event photographer? I can't tell you. You have to research that and see what other photographers in your area charge. So, question of the day, are you an event photographer? And if so, how did you get into it and how did you get discovered? Let me know in the comments below. To be honest, I've been covering so many different corporate events in the past 3 weeks that it has been a real struggle to find time to film different YouTube videos and put up content every week. I have not missed a week, but like I said, it's been a struggle trying to fit it in. For those of you who don't know, I still work a 9-to-5 job, and I do a lot of corporate event photography in the evenings. So I'll be working until 5 or 6, and then I'll be shooting an event until like 10 or 11 p.m. at night, and then I'll start editing and edit into the night, and I'll wake up early and I'll continue editing. And somewhere in that week, I try to find time to produce videos for YouTube as well. I don't have any major events coming up in this coming week, which I'm actually really relieved and excited about because it'll give me more time to work on stuff that I love. So I hope this video was at least somewhat insightful for you. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Till next time, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.